Hello everyone, welcome back to our analysis of the economic survey. Today we are going to discuss in this particular discussion chapter number 7. This topic is all about Indian industry. In the previous video we discussed about the infrastructure development. Today we continue with that because industry and infrastructure go together, right? So today we are taking the chapter number 7 in economic survey, that is the इंडस्ट्रियल डेवलपमेंट इन इंडिया। तो ये जो टॉपिक है इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ने क्या किया है, फर्स्ट दे हैव गिवन द ग्लोबल इंडस्ट्रियल सिनेरियो, मतलब in the year 2024-25 how was the global industrial production. So if you look at the economic survey ka analysis, what do we find that in the global industrial production what happened, those countries which were traditionally called डेवलप्ड कंट्री या वर्ल्ड बैंक उसको क्या बोलता है, हाई इनकम कंट्रीज, राइट। ये जो हाई इनकम कंट्रीज है वो पहले ज्यादा इंडस्ट्रियल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग करते थे, मतलब उनका शेयर ग्लोबल प्रोडक्शन में बहुत ज्यादा था। अभी इकोनॉमिक सर्वे का एनालिसिस क्या दिखाता है हमें, इन द ग्लोबल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग स्पेस द हाई इनकम कंट्री का वॉट एवर देयर शेयर दैट हैज बीन व्हाट वी कैन से reduced, they have lost their share, मतलब द डेवलप्ड कंट्री और हाई इनकम कंट्री उनका जो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग का जो शेयर है अभी वो थोड़ा कम हो गया इन पिछले 10 साल में, राइट, दैट इज द लास्ट 1 डेकेड में। उसी समय में क्या हुआ है, देयर इज अ शिफ्ट टेकिंग प्लेस इन द ग्लोबल ट्रेड, द अपर मिडिल इनकम कंट्रीज आर गेनिंग व्हाट वी कैन से their share in the global manufacturing, and this gain has mostly come in one country, basically it is led by China. Lot of production basically coming from China that has created what we can say the rising share of the upper middle income countries. It is clear? So 2 points economic survey makes it clear, the high income country ka share is reducing and the upper middle income country ka share is increasing, right? So these are the two things which has been given analytically by the economic survey about global industry. Now if you come to Indian context, what is the situation now? When we talk about our industrial share, if you look at India, what is India ka share in the global manufacturing? It is only 2.8%. So out of the global manufacturing, India ka share is just 2.8%. You contrast that with China. So if you look at here, China ka share is 28.8%. India is just 2.8%. That means 10 times China ka production is more when you talk about industrial manufacturing. So if you look at these two countries, that is the China and India, China is actually now dominating the industrial production या manufacturing globally also, right? So this is a very emerging trend. So what the economic survey says that India has lot of opportunity to expand the industrial manufacturing. Why? Because now many countries are also shifting their production units to China and India, and they prefer to have it in India rather than China. Okay, so therefore India has lot of advantage in this context. Now coming to Indian industry, when we talk about Indian industry, it basically includes subsector. So which are the 4 subsectors of the industrial sector of India? The first one is, number 1 is mining and quarrying, number 2 is electricity, gas, water supply and utilities, and number 3 manufacturing, and number 4 construction. Now these are the 4 subsectors of the industrial sector. Clear now? Now this industrial sector, how it has been performing say in the last 5 years. To economic survey, what does it say? The industrial sector was very much affected by the COVID-19, that is the pandemic, as a result of which what happened, there was a contraction. That means what we can say, a kind of a reduction in industrial production somewhere in financial year 2020-21. Now this pandemic effect continued to affect the industrial manufacturing production even after the pandemic. Therefore economic survey क्या बोलता है? There has been fluctuation in production. So industrial manufacturing in India is not having a good time. That is a very simple way. Indirectly they are saying that global manufacturing share is also going. India ka manufacturing is also less, and at the same time we are suffering from the pandemic effect even now. Okay, so that is the basic analysis given in the economic survey about our industry. Now the industrial sector ka growth, as we already said, has declined. So how much it has declined? So if you look at the economic survey, it has declined to 3.6%. Matlab the growth is actually going down to 3.6%. Therefore it is not a, what we can say, a good scenario. ठीक है. Now government ने क्या किया? Economic survey में they have highlighted 3 reasons why the industrial growth is now reducing. Yeah, it is not picking up, right? So what are the 3 reasons why the industrial sector ka growth is affected? Reason number 1, the first reason, गवर्नमेंट ने क्या बोला है? जिस कंट्री को हम लोग एक्सपोर्ट करते हैं, व्हाट वी कॉल आवर डेस्टिनेशन फॉर एक्सपोर्ट, उस कंट्री में कुछ प्रॉब्लम है, उधर डिमांड गिर रहा है या कंपटीशन चल रहा है, उसके वजह से हमारा एक्सपोर्ट डिमांड थोड़ा कम हो गया. दैट इज द पॉइंट नंबर 1. सो इफ यू सी हियर, our manufacturing exports experienced a sharp slowdown. Why? Because there is a economic challenge in the destination country, and also there is a competition, okay, in the destination country. So our destination places wherever we export, there we have been facing some challenge. As a result, our demand is less, so production is also comparatively less. That is the reason number 1. Reason number 2 is related to what we say, the monsoon. Now monsoon is good for agriculture, and people wait for rain to come because rain water is necessary, right? But same time, what the economic survey says, the monsoon effect benefited maybe agriculture, because what happened, rivers were full, lakes were full, the dams, reservoirs were full. But this affected industrial activity negatively. How? So if you look at here, the second condition, what they said, unprecedented monsoon, it produced mixed impact. That means positive impact on agriculture and negative impact on industry. That's what they are trying to say. That means what? It reservoirs and dams and agriculture, it boosted, that is a boosted agriculture, but same time it slowed down industrial activity like mining and construction, and also to some extent manufacturing. So the second reason that government is trying to say, monsoon अच्छा था, पानी मिला था, फिर भी industrial activities का थोड़ा नुकसान हो चुका है. That is the reason number 2. Reason 3 is still more interesting. What these are the reasons given in economic survey, right? So what is the reason 3 for the industrial production to go down a little bit? If you look at here, the variation in the timing of festival. मतलब क्या होता है, फेस्टिवल का टाइम नॉर्मली जब हम तिथि के ऊपर सेलिब्रेट करते हैं, it doesn't have exactly every year fixed day, like New Year comes only on 1st, whereas what we can say, Durga Puja can go here and there, Saraswati Puja came early this year, Ganesh Puja can be going earlier or later, like sometime beginning of September, like sometime end of September. So now what happened, the festival season का timing जो हर बार change होता है, उसके वजह से भी इंडस्ट्री के ऊपर क्या हुआ, थोड़ा इफेक्ट हो गया, specifically in September, October. So it affected that quarter which ends in October, right? That is the second quarter generally. So now what happened, why there was a bad effect? Okay, because of the Durga Puja, Dasera, Kali Puja, Diwali, Dhanteras, Navratri या पॉपुलर फेस्टिवल गणेश फेस्टिवल, इस फेस्टिवल में क्या होता है, व्हाट इज द कनेक्शन टू इकोनॉमी? इस फेस्टिवल सीजन में पीपल परचेस लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स like people purchase jewelry, gold, etc., right? And mostly in Maharashtra, what I have seen also, jab Ganesh festival is coming, people purchase vehicles and also some of them purchase jewelry, right? Diwali also many people purchase jewelry. Now it depends, like no, state to state, culture to culture. Some festival time people spend money. That means what? Festival के समय में market में industrial manufactured production का डिमांड भी बढ़ता है. तो गवर्नमेंट ने इकोनॉमिक सर्वे में क्या बोला, ये जो टाइमिंग में थोड़ा आगे पीछे हो चुका है उसके वजह से द सेकेंड क्वार्टर ऑल्सो इन अ वे गॉट लिटिल बिट अफेक्टेड, सो द इंडस्ट्रियल प्रोडक्शन वाज लिटिल लेस. सो दीस आर 3 रीजंस फॉर द लो इंडस्ट्रियल प्रोडक्शन, ओके, दैट्स हाईलाइटेड बाय द इकोनॉमिक सर्वे. उसके बाद इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ने क्या किया है, they have provided separately each industry, like for example cement industry, pharmaceutical industry, textile industry, etc., and trying to see how this industry is currently standing and what are the its ranking or position or production, etc. So let's highlight some of that for now. ये जो पार्ट है prelims में, ये statement based question में आराम से आ सकता है. So let's look at the some of these topics. So the first one, cement industry. So let's look at the cement industry. According to economic survey, currently India is the second largest cement producer. So this kind of question आपको prelims में statement based question में आ सकता है. So what is the point to keep in mind is, in the cement production, India is currently holding the second position, the second largest in the world after China. So which is number 1? It is China. Now when we talk about India ka cement industry, we basically have about 159 integrated large cement plants. Like in India we have about 159 cement plants, 128 grinding units where you need to crush and make the powder of the stone, and 62 mini cement plants. Okay, so that is our cement ka infrastructure. But exam point of view, this is important that India is the second largest cement producer. Okay, now when we talk about cement industry, India produces sufficient cement for our local consumption. That means what? We are not so much depending on import of cement for our requirement. That is a very important point here. The industry has sufficient capacity to meet the domestic cement demand. That means you don't have to depend on imports. Like for example, if you take what we can say, chemicals, no, we don't have enough of chemical, we depend on import. Same with our oil, like we are cooking India, we use lot of oil. Now oil we don't have enough, we are importing. But that is not the same case with cement. Cement we have enough production to meet our demand in India, right? That is very important. And so now also if you look at here, our cement consumption is still less in India, the demand is still less. Why? Domestic cement consumption is only 290 kg per capita, whereas the global average is 540 kilograms per capita. That means per person globally average 540 kilos of cement is consumed for construction, whatever. But in India it is still 290. But even that demand is met by local production. Now coming to the next industry, what the economic survey highlighted, this is the chemical and petrochemical sector. Now look at the opposite to cement industry. जैसे अभी हमने बोला कि cement industry में we have enough capacity to produce and meet the requirement of local demand in India. But petrochemical and chemical, what happened? we are basically dependent on imports. So if you see, we have a dependence on import. Why? About 45% of our import, we are dependent on that. It simply says we need to produce more and more. So government ने क्या बोला है? The gap between demand and supply which is there, that will be our top priority for the government, because we cannot too much depend on imports, because that again creates a BOP problem, trade deficit, etc. ठीक है? The next industry which has been highlighted in economic survey is the automobile industry. So government says that our automobile industry is making a lot of progress, and also what we can say now that Indian middle class is increasing gradually every year. Now there are more demand for vehicles, like the automobile industry is growing. So the automobile industry is a significant driver of economic growth, both in terms of production and job as well as. Now this industry has a lot of domestic sale. That is a very important point. Why? Because India is now slowly becoming a middle income country, we can say. Many people are coming into middle class. So the government is also in the hope that lot of demand for this automobile will increase in future also. Like as the poor people are slowly with high income coming to middle income category, they begin to feel, okay, let's have a low budget car also will do. So the low budget cars are also very much in demand. So now, therefore, domestic sale growth was 12.5%. That means a reasonably good business for the automobile sector. Okay. So the government said to promote more automobile, they have improved and extended what we call the production linked incentive scheme for one more year. So the government extended the PLI, that's a production linked incentive scheme, for one more year. Right? So these are certain information shared by the economic survey. The next industry which has been highlighted is the very interesting one, electronics industry. And in the electronics segment, government has mostly spoke about the mobile telephone ka production. Right? So if you look at the mobile phone ka production point of view, what the government says, now that India has drastically reduced its dependence on smartphone ka import, because now we are not depending on so much of import. Why? Because 99%, that's very interesting point here, 99% now manufactured domestically. That means most of these things are now manufactured in India, so we are not importing much from the rest of the world. Now if you look at here, very interesting data, in the financial year 2024, 33 crore mobile phones were in India produced, which is very interesting, and 75% of these actually had a 5G enabled facility. That means they are advanced mobile phone sets which have a features of 5G facility, right? So the electronic segment, government mostly talk about this mobile production. So I also only put the image of only the mobile, because that has been the focus of the analysis. So what the government is saying, trying to say here, in electronics industry, our import dependence has been drastically reduced. That is the key point. Another thing they talked about the electronics industry basically is the, what we can say, गवर्नमेंट का जो स्कीम है जो पहले ही अनाउंस किया था, लाइक मेक इन इंडिया, डिजिटल इंडिया, all these things have actually promoted the electronics industry, that is the IT and electronics industry. So India ka electronics market actually represents 4% of the global market. That means quite a huge, because our population is also rather big. So our electronics market is about 4% of the global electronics market. That is another information shared in the economic survey. Now going to the next industry, which is called textile industry. Now textile industry is very important. Why? India is a large exporter of textiles, and also maximum, what we can say, employment also comes in textile after agriculture, right? So this is a very important industry from that point of view. So now the textile industry is the major employment generator, right? And also if you see here, it contributes about 11% of manufacturing GVA, not the total GDP, the manufacturing ka GVA 11% comes from textile. Now some key points here for prelims ke liye. This might be asked in prelims. For example, India is leading number 1 producer of jute, and India ranks number 2, second globally in cotton, silk as well as man-made fiber production. Also the economic survey said most of the demand today is the man-made fiber production. Okay, therefore cotton based things are also very much demanded. And another point here, India is the 6th largest exporter of textiles and also apparel, that means the clothes, fitting, etc. Right? This is a very interesting information. So once again I repeat, India is number 1 in jute production and number 2 in cotton, silk and man-made fiber production. Now this kind of statements if you see UPSC में भी आता है, APSC में भी आ चुका है. So this kind of question आपको एग्जाम में पूछा जाने का possibility है from textile point of view. Related to textile, there is another thing called technical textile industry. These are textiles, raw materials, materials which are used for their long duration, sustainability and quality, not for their design and shape and all that, right? So that is called technical textile industry. Now ये जो technical textile industry है, India is also growing very much in that. Now another important point to remember, India का जो technical textile industry है, it ranks 5th globally. That is quite good. I mean the technical textile, we are number 5 in the world. Therefore India has a good opportunity to specialize also in textile production, etc. Okay. So now another important point to remember here, India is a net exporter of technical textile. Means what? We are not so much importing, rather we are exporting. So therefore you see many of the imports now we are trying to cut down. Now we are trying to become self-sufficient. So in this category, India is a net exporter of technical textile. That's very interesting point. The next one is the pharmaceutical industry, which India very much talked about since the COVID time, to make India the hub of global pharmaceutical production, right? That was the dream, government said. So now if you look at here, the Indian pharmaceutical industry is the world ka 3rd largest by the volume, not by value of production, not in terms of rupee, but in terms of quantity, the volume. So India is the world's 3rd largest by volume, right? Now this industry, what we call pharmaceutical industry, produces variety of things like what we can say generic drugs, which are generally used for various sicknesses, and bulk drugs and over-the-counter medicine, vaccine where we specialized quite a bit, and also biosimilars, biologics, etc. Now we are diversified in pharmaceutical production. That is what budget means economic survey is trying to highlight. And also government is giving more focus on the pharmaceutical, like what our Prime Minister Modi said. The target, the focus is to make India the main production hub of all the medicines. That's the pharmaceutical hub. Now related to pharmaceutical is what we call medical devices. So I just put some image for medical devices to get an idea. Now ये जो medical devices है, that means जो बेसिक इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स मेडिकल सर्जरी में, हॉस्पिटल में यूज किया जाता है, उसका जो प्रोडक्शन है, दैट प्रोडक्शन में भी इंडिया इज स्लोली इंक्रीजिंग, बट ग्लोबली इफ यू लुक एट इंडिया का शेयर इज ओनली 1.5%. okay, not much globally, but within Asia, our region, India ranks 4th that is very interesting. Okay, so India ranks 4th in terms of the market size. Number 1 is Japan, 2 is China, and 3rd is South Korea. Okay, they are almost like industrialized, but India is now ranking 4th. So India still has a lot of chance for the pharmaceutical industry. Okay, so these are some of the large industry which the economic survey discussed. Then there's a small section they have given for MSME ka discussion, but I could not find much information on MSME this year ka economic survey. Normally they give lot of information, lot of schemes, etc. This time the chapter is also just about some 28 some pages, not much. Okay, so now what happened? The MSME discussion is very short. In that I have just put the main highlight. What is the main highlight? As of November 2024, last year, MSMEs have been employing about 23 crore people. Okay, that is a good thing. 23 crore employment is generated by MSME. Now, there are lot of MSME in India. क्या बोलते हैं उसको, वो informal है. अभी गवर्नमेंट ने क्या सोचा, ये जो informal MSMEs है उसको फॉर्मल MSME बनाने के लिए गवर्नमेंट ने क्या किया? They launched this one called उद्यम असिस्ट प्लेटफॉर्म. ओके, इट वाज लॉन्च्ड इन जनवरी 2023. प्रीलिम्स के लिए ये भी आप थोड़ा याद रखेगा. नाउ इसको लॉन्च करने के बाद क्या हुआ? लॉट ऑफ इनफॉर्मल MSME, मतलब जो रजिस्टर नहीं किया था वो लोग फॉर्मल बन गए. सो वी हैव 2.39 करोड़ such informal MSMEs have been formalized using this platform called उद्यम असिस्ट प्लेटफॉर्म. ठीक है, तो ये थोड़ा सा इंफॉर्मेशन गवर्नमेंट ने दिया है. सो जस्ट कीप दैट इन माइंड. एंड ऑल्सो एज आई ऑलरेडी डिस्कस्ड इन द बजट, क्योंकि वो इकोनॉमिक सर्वे में नहीं दिया है लेकिन बजट में दिया है. देयर इज अ न्यू क्लासिफिकेशन ऑफ MSME फ्रॉम दिस ईयर का बजट. ओके, ऑलरेडी आई डिस्कस्ड इन द बजट. You can have a look at that. Now to promote MSME ka, what we can say, loan facility, that is a credit. Okay, what we call credit is nothing but a loan given to MSME. तो गवर्नमेंट ने इकोनॉमिक सर्वे में क्या बोला? MSME का लोन फैसिलिटी को थोड़ा मजबूत करने के लिए गवर्नमेंट ने क्या किया? They have rearranged, that means revamped या modified the MSME ka credit guarantee scheme. Okay, and so government kept 9,000 crore as a corpus fund. Okay, so that the credit guarantee can be given. And also, if you remember, the credit limit, how much loan MSME can take for this guarantee coverage, that has been increased from earlier 2 crore. Now the credit guarantee limit is also gone up to 5 crore. That means what? If an MSME takes, government gives a guarantee for that. So how much loan MSME can take? Matlab they can take about 5 crore. That is the point. So these are what we can say the short discussion government has about MSME. I could not get much more any details about MSME. Not much is discussed. But last economic survey had lot of information. Anyway, so economics का पर्सपेक्टिव में, एग्जाम का पर्सपेक्टिव में, व्हेन यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग दिस टॉपिक, MSME का थोड़ा याद रखेगा, बिकॉज MSME इज ऑल्सो इम्पॉर्टेंट. एंड व्हेन यू टॉक अबाउट असम, मोस्ट ऑफ आवर इंडस्ट्रीज कम अंडर MSME कैटेगरी. ठीक है, सो दिस इज ऑल अबाउट द इकोनॉमिक सर्वे डिस्कशन ऑन द चैप्टर कॉल्ड इंडियन इंडस्ट्री. सो द इंडियन इंडस्ट्री का ओवरऑल सिनेरियो इज नॉट दैट गुड. But the particular industry like cement, electronics, textiles, they are doing well. That's what the government is trying to highlight in the economic survey, right? So for any further query, okay, or any details you want to know, you can contact 8638391721. Okay, so in the next video we will continue to analyze the economic survey. Till then, you keep watching our video. We'll see you soon for our economic survey analysis in the next video.